All right.
Right.
And last but not least, once again, Ricardo, thank you so much for putting me on. Like, dude, like, you see how things has changed, man? Like, back in the days, I used to mention shows like, hey, well, I'm going to talk about this show, and we're going to talk about that show. I really recommend you check it out. But, dude, last week when you talk about this thing, I was like, all right, Jesus, what? And then I actually had to do a Google search and see the title, which is, to the start review here. Jesus shows you the way to the highway. Best title ever.
Yeah.
So there's a little backstory before. Well, I want you to do the synopsis for this, and you promised us your view of what the show really is about. So you can do the view, and then I will share my thoughts, and we'll end things off from there, right? I did not know that this was directed by a guy called Miguel Llanso,
Right.
right? Who made a film called Crumbs, which I will
Yes.
never forget. Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival,
Right.
Friday, Movie Town, 6 p.m. That screen, right? And no, I think it was either 6 or half 6. And I went in to see, well, a fellow colleague of ours, Michael Rochford's pendulum, right? Shout out to Michael, right? And I remember seeing the trailer for this, right? Through, the guys I was working with, right? Because they also had a film in the festival called Saskara. And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is shit. I don't get this. What's with the Michael Jackson LP thing? I don't understand this. This looks like garbage. Forget, right? And I skipped out on the screening. But then afterwards, they told me that they actually kind of enjoyed it for what it was. Though. I was like, damn, I wish I could have seen it, right? But yeah, that was my pretty much my introduction to that guy, right? And then also to the person who stars in this film, Daniel Tedasi, right? Who is this? Well, pretty much he's a dwarf, right? He's from Ethiopia, I believe he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
Right.
story was set in Ethiopia, right? So yeah. So that was it as far as Crumbs, right? It was one of those oddities that I missed out. And as someone who like himself a cult film, you know what I mean? Like I'm a huge connoisseur of cult films, but I would argue I like cult films that actually have a story, that have a point. You know what I mean? Stuff that could be, well, if it's stuff that looks and actually is pretentious or head up your own ass, I kind of stay clear of those. That's what I thought Crumbs was. So hopefully, if I watch it over again, or if I safely first, I'm like, nah, actually, this wasn't that bad. But point is, getting back to this movie here, when you mentioned it last week in the podcast, I was like, what the hell is this, right? And it's only a couple of days ago before we met up here today, that I saw our video, which is one of my favorite home media distributors, right? They're based in England. They actually have their own channel right now on Apple, right? Apple TV. They pretty much deal with, well-known cult films, right? So they have Donnie
Yeah.
Darko. I actually own that Donnie Darko limited edition on Blu-ray, actually. So it has the theatrical and director's cut, just to let you all know. And yeah, they just have some pretty dope films there, right? But one of the additions as to, what's coming up in their September lineup just so happens to be this. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, so this is a big deal then. Okay, well, for them to actually put this out officially on Blu-ray, okay, this had to be a thing. So, yeah, I checked it out for myself, you know what I mean? And I will share my thoughts on this. But yeah, Ricardo, take it away. What is Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway about?
All right. So it's
Take it
based
away,
off
take it away.
yeah. So these two CIA agents, quote unquote, have to go into the internet, right? Well, not the internet, but like a virtual reality space known as Psychobook,
Yes.
right? They have to fight a computer virus called Soviet Union, and they have to basically
Oh,
kind
by
of
the way,
falls apart.
sorry to cut you there, but whose avatar is, of course, Joseph Stalin?
Joseph Stalin, right? Right. And they have to fight back against the against this thing, but then well, Daniel Tadasi's character, which is DT Gagano,
Yeah,
Agent Gagano,
DT Cagado.
right? So he had to go fight this thing and battle against this thing, and then he goes down to a deeper level called what is Beta Ethiopia.
Yeah, better,
Ethiopia.
beta. Although
Beta
they spell it as two T's, but it's beta or better
Beta
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, right? And his fight is basically run by basically an evil version of Batman.
Yeah,
And
called
yeah,
Batfro.
Batman, right?
So it's
Yes.
basically this black
And
man that's really dressed like the Adam West Batman. Yes,
right.
folks, and
I think
also in quite a clever piece of technical showmanship. The Bat logo is replaced by a mosaic filter.
yeah. So but the idea is that he has this virtual world, and what this does really, really well. Right, anyway, you had to get out of that and solve the problem. But what this does really well, here's what this does. So at face value, you just dismiss this as something of an Adult Swim, right? Like it's just one of those like something like Look Around You or Got Merengue's Dark Place, where it's like a parody of past filmmaking and a parody of old film styles, but it's like a kind of joke thing one time, and you're really sure what's going on here. And it's this half animation, half silly story, all the voice work out of sync for some reason, that kind of stuff, right? So here's the thing. Here's why it works. Because it in itself works as a kind of meta commentary on like the flotsam and jetsam of Western culture, and you could say to a certain extent the Soviet Union on the third world itself. It's an Afrofuturist film
Mm-hmm.
mixed with cyberpunk.
Yes,
That's
yes. You're right.
that is why this works, because it's really an Afrofuturist film. Through the aesthetic, it's Western culture through the lens of the third world, and they could say the global south to a certain extent, like how they interpret like film and pop culture and all this stuff. Like you see how we in the Caribbean have it halfway, right? In Trinidad especially. Trinidad relatively wealthy, so we didn't have we get a sense of continuity with film, and we have a sense of continuity with television, and what you should be taken seriously and what is seen as kitsch and trash. But in the third world, that is definitely not the case. Like this is the parts of the world where they just sell off like all losing Super Bowl jerseys, and there's a part of the world where you'll have fake Nintendos or like fake consoles that kind of pretend to be Nintendo, or stuff that is just like it. There's a whole anthropological thing here about people who do see the world, but then have to cobble together pop culture, and then what would a movie look like that from their perspective, and who you hire. So it's halfway Nollywood mixed with like postmodern Adult Swim stuff, and then you kind of create a feedback loop onto that, if you understand. Because it does look like a Nollywood film at times, right?
It does.
But
Especially
then,
the martial arts scenes.
right.
Yeah.
But then you'll see like this weird stop motion section in the when they had to deal with Psycho Book, and it's like, wait, who part is this? It's like this clearly not something that will come out on Nollywood. It comes across like a kind of real postmodern art thing, right?
Yes.
And then the top layer is something that's straight out of Adult Swim, making fun of Gartmergy, like in the style of the Gartmergy Dark Place, right? It's that. It's 3 layers of like postmodern aesthetic. But it's different types of postmodern aesthetics all in one. It's a postmodern aesthetic sandwich. That's what's going on. Right?
I love that definition you make there.
Yeah,
I love that.
it's very like this kind of Jacques Derrida hauntology stuff going on as a film. And I was like, wait, boy. Now the thing is, to be fair, it doesn't stick the landing everywhere. A lot of the jokes already work. Like I get what they're trying to go for with a lot of stuff. The story itself kind of silly, but it's funny on its own head. Like especially when he goes down to the lowest level, and then when he meets quote unquote Jesus, that whole thing is like so ridiculous, but it's really funny on its own head, on its own pace.
Yeah.
But everything is has all these weird aesthetic calls of what it's trying to say, and this how our perspective is. And by the way, this was the basis of behind a manga we're working on right now, like that coming out, and it's just this how we interpret like foreign cultures, and then how we like chew it up and then regurgitate it back.
Right.
Like right. So it's that. That is what this was. And I was like, holy shit, this is like real close to the idea I had though. And
Okay.
that's the take on this. Now I'm not going to get into how you're supposed to interpret this and what Gargano represents or any of that bullshit. That's not what it's about. Like, it's just, imagine like you come back to a mall and the mall like totally destroyed and you have to interpret the mall from like 1,000 years in the future. That's what this is. It feels like something that's from a different time period almost. Right? It's like that, but you like don't know the significance or reference or meaning of anything, and you have to make sense of it. That is what it looks like somebody from the future telling us about a super post-apocalyptic reality that just didn't come. That is what this is. That is what this feels like a piece of art from the future that we, some timeline that just don't work out, but like nobody can make sense of all the pop culture shit now. Like we can make jokes about this character and what He-Man was about and blah 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 blah. None of that shit's gonna mean anything in the future, like in 50 years from now or whatever it is. And that's how this movie feels like. It's like somebody take that shit and put it in a blender and then splash it in your face. That's what this was.
Yeah.
And anyways, from an anthropological, like cultural, how to interpret this from a sociological standpoint, it's kind of brilliant. It's kind of brilliant. Don't take it on its face. That's how we had to interpret this. So let me hear your take on it.
All right. So before you hear my take on this, right? Did you by chance see Crumbs?
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. It's pretty much following has the same kind of themes, right? Like Crumbs has, right? Yeah. This movie here. Because I wasn't sure, because at first glance I wasn't sure what Crumbs was about, but then as I heard, as a little bit more about it, it's like, okay, this is why it's weird and why they trade all these references to American pop culture and all that kind of stuff. Okay, well, just get this out the way. I just now found out off the Arrow Films website that Crumbs is also going to be part of the Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway Blu-ray release.
Right.
So yeah, good. So you get 2 movies for the price of 1, and 2 short films from him, from the director. So good, you know what I mean? But as to whether I'll buy this movie or not, I'll answer this at the end of my review for this, right? So, okay, I love me some weird shit, right? I love going into a show, being in its own universe and just trying to make sense of things, right? But I will admit though, like 10 minutes in, I wasn't really sure what was going on or why, though. And they had me with the stop motion sequence, and I was like, okay, this is where we are. This is where we are.
It's a real Missy Elliott shit going on, eh? Like,
like if it would have worked for like a 5-minute, hip hop music video from like Missy Elliott or Timbaland, but for a movie that is supposed to take seriously, kind of, I don't know, right? But then eventually, and this is one thing, like I said before, I like I love me a cult film, but I love ones that actually have a story, right? Whether the story lands, that's to be decided, right? But this one, it kind of lands, right? It doesn't stick the landing all that well, though, but it has a narrative that that was able to follow, right? The story went in directions I didn't expect, like case in point, this thing with Gargano's wife, Malin, whatever her name is, who is this like this intentionally buxom woman, and like the moments with her, I was like, oh, right. But I just kind of saw that as the director kind of taking the I don't want to say sex spot, because that's a old term, but just taking the the lead, the actress with the sex appeal and just flipping it on its heels, just intentionally. So even though I didn't see Crumbs, I kind of picked up on the fact that Miguel was just kind of poking fun ever so often on American films, right? Like it's obvious. Yeah. I also picked up on some 80s style filming, like it uses 60mm cameras. Certain moments too, so I was picking up like an early 80s vibe, similar to like what you get with a show like Liquid Sky, for example, right? But I was picking up on bits of that, right, where it's kind of weird, but it has a certain charm and feel to it, right?
No, so the show, as I say, the show I compare it to is Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Like, if you know what that is.
I do not. If you just remind me what it is.
All right, so Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is okay. So it's one of Richard Ayoade's early shows. It's this show that it's a show within a show. So it's a like a documentary categorizing a fake TV show from the 1980s, and it's done like a really shitty, like bad horror TV show in the 1980s, but it's told a talking head documentary about the series. And
Oh, okay. And the joke is
it's a
about how
story
weird it all is. Right.
and the commentary on that. And this does that.
You're
That's
right.
what I was getting at this.
Okay,
It's this I think it's Matthew Holness, I forget the other guy, and then Richard Ayoade was one of the early people. This is like one of Richard Ayoade's early stuff.
Right.
That is what this is. So it does that. You know, you see like how the songs slightly out of sync in one area.
Yeah.
And then and then they do the thing, and then they go down one layer with the stop motion stuff, and then they go down one layer which looks a little better. It actually right. So that was intentional. Like that's clearly an intentional aesthetic choice. And you know, I'm not the one who have any like I tend to not have patience with this kind of stuff, but because everything just felt so intentional in its delivery and aesthetic choices, I had to pay attention to it now. Like,
of course,
what?
yeah.
What's going on?
As you see that too, there's even well, let me just call it the third layer. If you want to use the third level, if you want to use Inception talk, right? Essentially where you swear like the like if you watch like an old film, right? You know, like like you see like certain scratches or like the film will kind of skip a bit. Like you saw that too, like the film will kind of skip and it would just change. What's he looking for? Like the color correction would just change a bit. I was like, okay, we're doing this too. But another thing I picked up on though, this is with the beta Ethiopia stuff. It's not just the Dollywood stuff, but also when they incorporated the Matfro character. I was thinking of this is unfortunately something I haven't got around to watching, but because you know I'm aware of it. That would be stuff like Turkish Star Wars, Turkish Superman, right? I think there's a Turkish Superman where it's their take on the iconic character, but it looks cheesy. But to them, it's just like, well, we just doing it our way. We do it Turkish style, right? So their case is like it's Batman, but we're gonna do it. Well, not so much Ethiopian style. We're gonna do it in the style that this movie wants to present him as, right? So, yes, and touching on the voice acting, the voice delivery, yes, there is some intentional EDR, some dubbing, some sync issues, but all that is intentional too. Like I said, yeah, I had to pay attention to that too, because I don't know, like to me, I just kind of got like they just kind of making fun of like I don't know, like they just had this old video store that had a bunch of VHS tapes of kung fu films and sci-fi films and Cold War, spy films, and they just took like a bunch of films and just came up with this movie here. Now, as far as the whole Jesus angle thing, because yes, there's a character who, well, slight spoiler, he thinks he's Jesus, right? But they actually explain why, and it kind of makes sense. That I wasn't really sure where they were going. What they were trying to see with that. Maybe they weren't trying to say anything at all, but maybe it was just the whole idea of, okay, I am the Messiah. I'm going to show you the reality of things. So, now that I think about it, holy shit, I think I now get where it is. Because the show tried to do its own kind of afro-futurist, low-budget take on the Matrix. He's Neo. But he is kind of early Keanu Reeves, super type character, which is why he looks the way he looks and talks the way he talks. He has this kind of super guy kind of vibe there.
Yeah, I don't want to get into all of that because you could, again, much like this kind of stuff, you could interpret what it actually means all this kind of way. But yeah, the idea is to escape the reality, like how to escape your reality in its own way now. Like all this noise and rubbish and layers of rubbish. Like it's particular that they criticize like socialism, well, not socialism so much, but communism now in this as a whole as a virus, quote unquote. Right. So stuff like that now. Like I don't waste my time getting into all of this interpretation, but it's the idea of it probably have a message in that sense, but I didn't get into that. I just got into it as a workable commentary now. And that's what made it interesting now. As a
Right. So few things before I get to Meriton, right? The whole Joseph Stalin thing being a villain was funny though. And like especially the stop motion world where they actually have the characters like taking like these fake masks. Well, sorry, these masks, these popular figures. I put them over the face and all that kind of stuff. It really looks weird, eh? But after a while, I was like, yeah, this shit kind of cool though. You know what I mean? But it works, right? Um, but yeah, dude, this show has a lot. It throws a lot at you. But I like that there is this loose narrative that kind of holding things together. Sometimes things might get pretty silly. Like there's a particular moment involving like these flies, as all we'll say, which I thought was really, really, really dumb, but they kind of make it work. The whole Batman stuff was hilarious, but
Yeah.
at times it's just like, yeah, really? Why though? And even right now to the stuff involving oh gosh, Gagano's wife though. I felt that was kind of like their take on the whole spy genre, the whole betrayal kind of stuff. That's essentially what they're going for. Speaking of Gagano, Daniel Tedisi, well, this is me because going off of his performance here. 'Cause I never saw Crumbs. He's actually
Right.
pretty good though. Like he
Yeah.
is a standout character. And yes, it is because of his figure, right? His body shape and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, in terms of on-screen presence, the man have it, and I like the fact that they gave him a purpose. Like he was just there to be someone's laughing stock, right? Even though they threw a couple of short jokes here and there, but still, he had a role, he had a function, and he did what he had to do. And he pretty much is kind of the street man in the show, so we kind of see things through his eyes. And yeah, I like that. As deep, as the movie goes deeper, we all like him trying to figure out what's going on and why and all that kind of stuff. And yes, the show goes pretty absurd though, but at the same time, I just couldn't move my eyes though. 'Cause I was like, I don't know, like just for me as a cult film color, so I just love the fact that people can actually get away with making stuff like this, Trent, and get praise. You know what I mean? And have a cult fan base at least. You know what I mean? I was worried though that this movie was going to border on some, pretentiousness, right? But fortunately, it didn't. But I know for some people they might just look at this like, okay, what kind of arty farty bullshit is this? But it has a lot to say, but I like the fact that it says it this really absurd offbeat way, like I say, like Adult Swim there. And last thing, last one, I want to say before I get to rating, the title is justified. It's actually justified.
Yeah.
Although I would say the second to last shot is very, very reminiscent of many 80s horror films. That's all
Right.
I would say. But I like how they left it open ended there, so I'll give them that. So yes, folks, as you pretty much figured out, this is a one of a kind movie though. I have never seen something. I mean I've seen weird shit in my days, but I've never seen a movie like this before in my life though. This is actually my first Miguel Llanso film, and I actually really want to check out Crumbs. Off of the strength of this film here. It's not perfect, mind you, even though it's not meant to be perfect. There are some narrative flaws here or there. Sometimes the movie does drag, and I felt honestly the third act kind of it could have wrapped up quicker than it could have actually. But yeah, though, this is just this psychedelic, over the top, crazy, a kind of insightful show. Once you really dig into it, though. Um, and yeah, I mean, as far as me buying this thing on Blu-ray, I guess maybe one day, just knowing that they have Crumbs in this, so I can actually check it out and watch a little behind the scenes stuff. I'm really curious to see how they make this show, Trent. But written wise, I would give this strong 3.5 to light format. I think this is
Right.
one that if you are an adventurous moviegoer, this is one you should really check out. If you really, really, really can't stand shows that just don't make any sense or look weird or have weird premises or whatnot, yeah, I would actually recommend skipping this show, man, because you will not you probably watch a show and just be pissed off from the word go. But if you're brave enough, if you're bold enough, if you just want to see something unique and special, and you're willing to give 80 to 85 minutes of your time to really really bask in something really unique and special, yeah, I strongly recommend giving this movie a look. I don't know what's the next show we're gonna get from this guy here, but this guy onto something, man. This guy really onto something as far as these weird Afro-futurist pop culture critiquing pastiche films go, man. So yeah, I really recommend you check this out. Last words and rating on this movie here.
Yeah. I'll say right. So this again as a commentary and what it's trying to do, it gets like a 7 out of 10. Like it's interesting. Like I'm glad we've seen this interesting kind of approach to art and commentary on art and who does receive art and how they interpret it to send it back out and whatnot. And you can go back and forth on that. Like you know how the Soviet Union interpret Chuck Norris or how Russians interpret Hindu filmmaking or something like that. I would like to see that mixed up instead of just from a Western perspective and see how that would. But that's it. I was really impressed with this from that perspective. If you want to just dismiss it as just some adult, some joke show, cool. That's not what I think they were going for. It has a real like deep, reasoning sociology aspect to it. And I thought I see it. So yeah, I give this one a 7 out of 10. Really, really, I enjoyed for it is.
Right. Last thing I just want to say though, and I remember mentioning this for our review of Mandy, right? Uh, that idea of wanting to make a cult film, even though technically it's the fans themselves or the people who appreciate your film that makes it into a cult film. This one, like Mandy, has that kind of feel where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna be weird and avant-garde, literally, but I'm actually gonna entertain you through it. So yes, I'm kind of going out of my way to make this into some sort of midnight movie, some kind of cult classic. And I think for the most
Yes.
part, Miguel has succeeded. But as far as classic goes, I mean, this movie came out like what, like literally last year. So we had to wait like a few years before we add that term classic. But I have a feeling this is gonna be a cult classic for sure, man. And now knowing that Crumbs is gonna be released with this, yeah, so more people like myself will actually check out Crumbs, and we could be like, yeah, this man up there, man, this man up there. So like I say, if you're just looking for something new, something a little different, and you're willing to, just shut your brain off and let's see, take drugs or whatever to enjoy this, and let's see that, not condoning that. But still, if you just want to see something a little special, unique, yeah, I'm gonna see this for the last time for the sake of this review. Jesus shows you the way to the highway alone.
Yeah.